We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here on a Sunday. I want to welcome everyone. I'm so excited because I don't have no idea what I'm going to say. But I do want to welcome everyone, and I'm privileged to be here and privileged to find out how this is going to turn out as well. Anyway, why don't we all welcome ourselves and greet each other. Okay, statement of purpose. Hi, everyone. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self, within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols. We seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. That is beautiful. I have a core value today. It'll be core value number 5. We accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. Announcements. A lot of people are in the retreat house this week. Jacqueline sent this over for me. To support the Centers of Disease Control, CDC, in its effort to slow down the spread of the coronavirus, Awakening Together will offer the April and May retreats online instead of at the retreat house. Online retreats will be offered in Zoom, in a room specially designated for retreats. The Zoom link and retreat materials will be provided to those who register for a retreat. Registration closes for each retreat 2 days before the retreat begins. Online retreats currently planned and open for registration include Freedom from the Judge, releasing the I am bad belief and responsibility for sight. For more information and to register, look on our menu bar under retreats and classes. 2, today is the last day to register for the MPP course, Introduction to A Course in Miracles. This course is offered in our traditionally weekly format and is 6 weeks long. A Course in Miracles teaches that the way to universal love and peace, or remembering God, is by undoing guilt through forgiving others. The course thus focuses on the healing of relationships and making them holy. In this class, participants will become familiar with main themes taught in A Course in Miracles and apply the teachings of A Course in Miracles to everyday circumstances that arise in our lives. Participants will meet online on Tuesday afternoons, April 7th through May 12th, from 2 to 4 p.m. The homework begins this Tuesday. The facilitator of this course is Reverend Carl Lammers. For more information, visit our website, look under retreats and classes on online classes. I'm sorry, I'll do that again. Look under retreats and classes and online classes. 3, in the wake of the coronavirus, many churches are closing or going to online streaming for their Sunday services. This forced change may offer the opportunity for people who are not familiar with Awakening Together to give us a visit. Consider inviting friends and family who may be so inclined to join us next Sunday for our weekly gathering. Those, excuse me, those of you who may find yourselves with more free time at home may also want to take a look at our sanctuary schedule, excuse me, to view our programming. Remember, we offer programs throughout the day on Sunday and Wednesdays, as well as gentle healing groups on Monday and Tuesday. You will find the programs inspiring, uplifting, and perhaps a welcome change from your previous daily routine. The sanctuary schedule can be found on our website by clicking on our logo near the bottom of the page, or our main menu bar by clicking on Online Sanctuary / Sanctuary Program Schedule. 4, plan to join us for a special meeting hosted by Reverend Regina Akers next Sunday, April 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. At this meeting, we will discuss how ministers and members can come together to support Awakening Together and each other as our association moves in a new direction. Those of you who attend this month's movie discussion group know that Regina discussed the transition of our association from what has often been a leader-driven group to one that is led through the inspiration and innovation of its many ministers and members. Plan to join us to help us envision our path and your part in the awakening journey as we step forward into this exciting next phase of awakening together. Yes. Father, oh, great love. Great love. You've helped me undo so much. You helped me through all my understandings. This great love that binds us all together to help us see there is no other. This great love that we draw on during this frightful time, this pandemic time in our lives of outside corrections, that we may be this source of power and enlightenment and strength for anyone that needs to draw on. However, this service, this corona, this ease can come to ease. Help us to see beyond all understandings, to grab onto all that's inside of us, to see the oneness in all beings, that we are all the same. Thank you for the letting go of all the petty differences that we thought we had, that were so mountainous before. And sameness, once again, is here to relish on how great this glory is and how great this day is and how brilliant of a time that we live in, that we have you and that we are you. Thank you. Amen. Well, you know, before I introduce Ruby, you know, it's, you know, it's like we had this brilliant, you know, brilliant reading from Meg that she posted online, and she just said it's a brilliant time. And that's all you need to know. It's a brilliant time that we get to be with ourselves, you know, and we, you know, and we're lucky because we've, you know, we're lucky because we do that as a habit, and now we get to even go deeper. So I'm going to turn this over to Ruby. Ruby is going to read a poem from the Odyssey.
Thank you, Billy. Ithaca by C.P. Cavafy. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lastragonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find those things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lacedaemonians, Cyclops, wild Poseidon. You won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're singing for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for, but don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you've gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you may have become, so full of experience, you will have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. That was intense. That was beautiful. Well, those of you that don't know Ithaca and the Iliad and the Odyssey, you know, it was, I don't know, I forget, I don't know the year. It was some guy by the name of Homer. I think he was blind or something, and he wrote this, the Iliad and the Odyssey. But the Odyssey, which is this guy Odysseus went out to he went 10 years to fight a war, and to go there to fight a war, and no one won and no one lost. But it reminds me, it reflects life, you know, it reflects life. On his way home, all he could, on his way, when the war was over, Ithaca was his home. And that's where he started from. And it just reminds me that we, you know, that Ithaca is what we all have a story. Every one of us has a story. You know, and you know, this he says, as you set out for Ithaca, I hope your road is a long one and full of adventure and full of discovery. And, you know, like, we all get shot out of the gate, you know, to self-achieve. And as we, you know, into, you know, we're schooled a certain way. And the older we get, we have an ego that we drive to the max. You know, we see how far, you know, we get to see, you know, what's you know, what's good. We get to see what's bad. We get to see what makes us happy. We get to see what makes us unhappy. We get to avoid pain, and we get to go, you know, sometimes go through pain because there was no way out. But, you know, we are developing these tools in this first half of life. So, you know, and he says, I hope your journey is a long one. And, you know, that reminded me of that old Icarus story of this father and son that they were making wings. So they would make, it's a myth. They would make wings so they could get as close to God as they could. And they were trying to shortcut it. And the son was. And the father was trying to warn him not to, you know, you're not ready to get that close to God. Your journey needs to be a long one. You have to understand your journey is for. And to love your journey. And to understand that, you know, if you're in the victimhood of your journey, then you're in the victimhood of your journey. Then love that. If you're in the understanding, and wherever you are on your journey, wherever, you know, what, you know, you have these first tools, this first half tools of life of taking your ego and having your ego win and you know, just, you know, because you're youth, you can, you know, you can still push that square peg in the round hole and get rid of, you know, and make it work. Okay. And as this Odysseus on his way back, he wants to get back home. And he's got these Lastrygonians, they're half giants and half men, and Poseidon's these one-eyed giants, and you know, these fierce, we can call them, we got these coronas, you know, and we can't go through this second half of life with these first half tools. So, make this journey be a long one. And, and then there was a line in here that angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You will never find things like that on your way as long as you keep your thoughts raised high. Well, we haven't gotten there yet. We're still using, in the story of Odysseus coming back home to Ithaca, he was still, he still had his warrior, he still had his weapons, he still had his, tools from the first half of life. And he had to go through all these things. And, and I call them Hansel and Gretel chips that we, that we carefully put out into the world, before we got here, to remind us that we are dreaming, that we need to rely on something greater than ourselves, and we can't use these tools that served us well through our adolescence and young adulthood, and as we become more mature in our being, we but it takes a while. So it's funny because in this poem, this guy Homer, who is trying is being spoken for through this guy Cavafy. They've never experienced it. They are assuming what a great life would be. So they say you'll enter harbors and see that for the first time. You may stop at the Phoenician trading stations and buy things, find things, mother of pearl, amber, ebony, sensual perfumes. And he's doing this out of imagination, and how imagination has also takes us along the way and also helps us. And it's like that's that transition period where we start to use imagination as a middle of the road tool between our first half of tools, and now we come to a deeper understanding and a maturity. And Meg, if you could put on the Gran Torino lyrics, because I'd like to talk about how that song and this poem are actually saying the same thing. Okay, here it is, yeah. So it starts with realign all the stars above my head. My first half of life tools were to expand my ego and its thought system and add to the truth. Realign all the stars to make better than God, to make better than the nature, to make better than love. Above my head, warning stars travel far. I drink instead. My rearrangement of the stars showed me my power, ignoring the easier, softer way, creating stories and dramas that took me far off course. Losing my way to realize I am lost. So I drank instead. And then it goes down and it says, on my own. Oh, how I've known the battle scars and worn out beds. The skipper of a sinking ship. Yet youth and willpower pushes through. I have a story behind each scar of the same lesson I refuse to learn. Settling for less, and not realizing for my purpose was to be right, whom I realigned the stars for. I've done that. I've been that, you know. And then the chorus comes in and says, gentle now a tender breeze blows, a tender breeze blows, whispers through a Gran Torino, whispering another tired song. My vehicle, my body, taking time out from one drama to the next drama, accompanied by my own tired song, my own lonely tired song. The engines hum and bitter dreams grow. The calming of my engine rocks me through the memories of my latest relationships, where all the bridges are in flames as I look through the rearview mirror. Heart locked in my Gran Torino. We travel so fast in this exhale of life, not feeling the bars I put around my heart. It beats a lonely rhythm all night long. These streets are old. They shine with the things I've known, and breaks through the trees, they're sparkling. This is a great line. This is brilliant. The way I'm doing things have become habitual. And he sees it. No longer intuitive. My weapons and tools I've used are all bloodstained with memories of victories and defeat. The light I once received from this belief system breaks through the trees. The sparkling thoughts look at this past life with the light of a different mind. And then he ends it with, the world is nothing more than the tiny things you left behind. Not the big things, it's the little things that we had divine intuition, we had divine intention, where the big things were of an ego accomplishments. You know, so tenderly, your story is nothing more than what you see or what you've done or will become. You know, in your heartfelt contemplation, you know, you in your exhale of your yesterdays, your present moment, and your future. Your story is your story. How you want to interpret it, whether in victimhood, hero, aloof, investigator, love it. Bad or good, right or wrong, love it. Do you want to look at it subjectively, beyond duality? Love it. Do you want to look at it with awareness, watching the seer? Love it. Or if you have come to the point in transcendence where you and God are one and you always were God, then you know it. You know, I had a incredible week preparing for this homily. And I had great writings every day. And every day I'd read my homily to either Megan or my wife, Susan, and they'd say, well, there's your homily right there. And then the next day I'd write another one. And then, and then I had about 5 different homilies to do. And today I just didn't, there's a Bible story called Manna, and it was like, Moses took the Hebrews out of slavery. He brought them through the desert. He escaped Pharaoh's wrath. He opened the Red Sea. He crossed the Red Sea, and now they're on the other side in a desert, and there's no food or water, and they are pretty ticked off at Moses that you brought us all this way, and you have nothing. We were better off in Pharaoh's, living in bondage. And Moses said a prayer to God, and he gave them what he called manna. He gave them enough food for that day, enough food and water for that day. And you couldn't hoard it, because if you hoard it, it would turn to maggots and bugs and all that. So you could only have what today had to offer. So I looked at my homilies this week, and I said, my homilies, they were all homilies at one moment in time, but they all meant something that day when I was reading them back, and they had nothing for me this morning or yesterday morning, and I just couldn't put anything together. And I just wanted to who knows what was going to come out of my mouth, so my little journey of going through life and having carefully placed these Hansel and Gretel chips in my life so that they were going to stop me dead in my tracks, like this coronavirus is doing to the world right now, to the universal globe that our human condition lives on right now. It stops us dead in our tracks. And it's like it reminded me of being in an airplane and having a husband and wife sitting one in front of the other, and they weren't sitting together, and they were arguing. They were arguing back and forth, and everybody could hear it. And then all of a sudden, that the plane had this bit of turbulence and had this big drop. And all of a sudden, everything changed. All these little petty differences were over. And there was a oneness there. And I've had many of these little things grow up, these little things grow up inside me that were put in front of me that grew me up, I went through my first half of life going through, my adolescence and discovering that I better get my body in shape because, there are a lot of, at 6 years old, 7 years old, I'm at school, and I grew up of Greek Orthodox faith, and we had different Good Fridays and different Easters than the Catholic, the predominant Catholics that I was going to school with. And so I'm in a fight ring at 6 years old, and I'm being pushed back and forth, and I'm getting beat up at 6 years old in the schoolyard because my Good Friday was different. So, and I am so grateful for that. That was the last day that happened because I realized that I needed tools. I realized that I needed tools. But these tools that I got in life now, I developed my body. There was another incident in my life where my sister got run over by a truck, and it was through my coercion at I think I was 6 and she was 4, and squirt guns were a really big thing at the time. And imagine that, squirt guns. I'm showing my age. Okay, and we went to get some squirt guns with saved up bottle money that we had. We saved up bottles to bring to the store, and we were going to buy these squirt guns and bring them home. And we were watching these guys play music on the other side of the street, and we're swaying back and forth. And I had a friend with me, and my sister and I were swaying back and forth like the ocean, like the rhythm to the song. And and my friend went across the street and he saw me, and I got embarrassed that he was laughing at me. So I went and joined him, and I left my sister on the other side of the street. And then, and she turns around and she sees the same thing, and she starts running toward me, and there's a truck coming, and the truck hits my sister. It was a panel truck. It was like and I see her rolling under the tires, and her shoe goes off, and I'm 6 years old. And this is my first experience of guilt, of really heartfelt guilt. My sister's fine today. We're awesome together, but that moment in time where I had to go through that in my life, where they had to take me out of school because I was at home all the time with my grandmother's, who's from Greece, and her brother who can't speak English, and everybody else is in the hospital praying for my sister. And he doesn't know how to turn the lights on, and I'm at home digesting everything that what I did at 6 years old. I took the responsibility for me. I did not have anyone to help me understand that at the time. And so I got a virus because I was in dis-ease. My face broke out into a big scab. And everything once again stopped, and I got a virus where they had to take me out of school, and now I'm at home. But I learned about guilt in that time. And I think that was called impetigo. I don't know. I don't know. It was something like, there were so many dis-eases that we had to go through to find ease, to find out that, I'm playing God, but I'm not, I'm taking on this full responsibility of guilt at 6 years old. And, and I had to have my own virus to get to, how God saw it. But, so here we are in this next stage of life, where, I went through drugs and addiction and all that, but I don't need to go into those stories. They're not necessary. We all know what those pains are and all that. We all have certain pains in our lives that got our attention. We all have a story. We all have that story in us that we vibrated next to God, where there was nothing but you and God, and everybody's got one. Everybody has an odyssey, and this odyssey that we have is in every moment. This odyssey is something that I collapsed. I have heaven and earth, and that's my job here, is to make heaven and earth one. Okay, to hold on to both of them, to like Karen had in her meditation, peace beyond all understanding. And here, to really understand that I can be that drop, to be that ocean in that drop, that I am the ocean, that I am God. How did I get here? I studied, my books were Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox, and I read all the Emmett Foxes, and then I got into the Course in Miracles, and I'm praying to something outside myself that's helping me change my mind. I got to see how to read the mirroring effect of the world that's in front of me, that's being reported back to me. The Course taught me how to do that. I got to see that person that was in front of me, that was a messenger of showing me that hidden question in myself that I can't even see yet. And I got to see all that. I got to find the wisdom to hold all that together, to experience all that, and now go beyond, to see that I am the seer, and that I am the seer, that I can watch awareness, that I can become the awareness instead of the object of the awareness. This Adam and Eve story that we have, there's another one, the Adam and Eve story. We have how did I write this down the other day? We are being punished by a God we have disappointed because of something that we did, and we are experiencing sin and guilt because of it. And now we have a garden that we have transcended into. This whole other garden where the apple, I know where this is. Okay. The apple in this garden is not even being seen anymore. It is choiceless. We've taken choice to a point. We've exhausted all these right perceptions, all this true perceptions, to just actually stop. I don't have to see it differently anymore because it's not what I'm seeing anymore. There is a trueness that's in front of me. There is that I don't have to see why this is good for me anymore. That was one of my other prayers in this duality. What came to me this week was I was asking God, why do I need something from you that I already have? And all my prayers were starting like that. Why am I asking for you for something I already have? Why am I going outside myself to understand this inward condition? This is the inward condition that the more I go inside, the more I clean it, the more I get to see the awareness of what, I can watch the seer. I can watch the seer, and then I can watch what I'm watching. And then I get to that I am spot. I am. That I am, that, the I am, and then before the I. Before this place where I am God. I am that I am. That's the essence. I can experience that drop, that ocean in the drop now. That I have everything. I am everything. I am one with you, Father. And there's it was like I had a dream. It's like I went to bed one night and I had a dream. I'm 70 years old. And I had a dream of being 70 years old. And all these, and I went through these whole first half of life and second half of life, and I got to see, and all that, and I got to accumulate and be proud of myself and not be proud, all those things. And then I started dreaming of what it would be like not in control. And coming back from that and feeling that all the narrow escapes I had and reporting back and then taking it even further, being completely out of control and coming back and experiencing that even further. And then doing it again, nothing, no control. And that's where I am today. There's nothing wrong. That is where I sit now in my Gran Torino. I'm in that in-between before I get to the event. Who am I at that yellow light? I'm bringing that to the event now. Who am I? Am I at that, as the wind in my Gran Torino, listening to that song that's changed inside me, that beats with God, that I am God, that I live in God. And that is the awakening, and I don't know, I can't say anything more than that. It's, it was all a dream. And to awaken from this dream whisper, the gentle, tender breeze blows. Yeah, I'm that too. They're all Ithacas in my life. That the journey to travel well was more important than the destination, and I needed all of it. There's nothing to regret. It's may it be long. My what did it say? My topic was, I want to see how far if I covered it. Because Billy will talk about how awareness of the relationship with Holy Spirit has changed through inquiry. How we learned in inquiry how the solution is always in the problem. And when do we get that? That I recognize the problem and I recognize that it's been solved, like Dove so eloquently did last week. And then now we are all amongst the ministers of God, that we are God, and we're delivering the message of this internal, infinite love of beingness, and so I can, be one with Source in deciding what I want to bring down to earth. But there's no choice anymore. We've become choiceless. When I look at my alcoholism and my drug addiction, I don't even see it's not a choice anymore. It's not a choice not to be love. And this is the time that we, amongst the ministers of God, in this trying time, that we may assist our brothers and sisters in the world to know where we come from, that we are all the same. Thank you. Amen. Okay. What's next? Okay. I'm looking at the time. I think I'm good, right? Okay. Yes, Marvin, you got me through some tough times. We know what's going on. It's a return to love. And we've learned, that everything is a return to God. We got to play God with our ego, to not play God, and then to understand that we are God. And there's the kingdom of heaven is entered 2 by 2. This is another Noah's Ark situation going on here, that that we are gathering our loved ones, trying to keep everyone safe. And a lot of us, we don't know what's going to happen. We're in that I don't know again. And that's okay, because we got that comforting, rocking feeling that we are cared for. We're cared for. We're good and we know it. And that's a change. I'm good and I know it. So I'll open it up for sharing, I guess. Yeah, we can do that. Let me just say a couple more things. I am so grateful for how my life is and what I had to go through. I'm just so grateful that I got to see the service. I got to see that everything's in service. I got to see, the oneness. I'm so grateful for the religious practices, the course, and everything that pointed me in a direction. And then I had to throw the book away. And I wasn't going to learn it from something else or someone else. I was not going to learn it. I had to unlearn, and I had to be with me. And I had to just be with me, to see the I am. To see the I am before the object, to see that apple, and to recognize that I am what is before the apple. And then the apple has meaning. And if I'm in that I am, then there is no illusion. If I'm in that that spot, that's the subject before the object, then that's where it's at, and that's where there is no meaning. There is no meaning from the mind, because I don't see the chair as the chair. I see it, everything's in service. I'll let go. Well, it's heartfelt for me, and it's where I come from than where I'm more important than where I'm going. And if anybody has anything else to share, we got a few minutes, I think, right, Don? If not, I can understand that staying in the warmth of your heart, in the vibration of love, and let that be your external. let that be what you bring down to earth.
Thank you for watching. This was our weekly gathering that we hold online. For more information, you can visit our website at awakening-together.org, or you can subscribe to our Awakening Together channel and click the bell for more notifications when we post our weekly gatherings. Thank you again for watching.